Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip here, no scandal, no K words, no Kardashian talk at all, no tea talk, because I want you to have 88% happiness. Why not 100%? If you're 100% happy, you're dead. We don't want to do that. So 88% happiness is our goal. I have topics and guests to that end. If you missed my interview with Ruta Lee, who was in the movie with the Brat Pack, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Go and free subscribe to my YouTube TV channel, and you will get access to all those great interviews, along with my red carpet playlist with interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, and more. And I also have great series, and you can tell it's Friday because who's in studio? It's time for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn. Hi, everybody.
Welcome back, James. And I'll let you introduce yourself. It's been a bit since I had you do that.
Sure. I am James Hawthorn. Like Dr. Marissa, I am a multi-hyphenate. I'm a recovering corporate guy, and in the last 15 years, I've been a fully freelance personal trainer and actor, which has taken me on quite the roller coaster ride that has been wonderful. I love helping clients live and feel their best, and that's probably my favorite thing about what I get to do. It's so nice to have a job that is actually doing some good in the world, which I didn't feel was the case in corporate. And then, of course, telling stories as an actor is like it's like my adult recess. I get to go play make-believe for a few minutes at a time, mostly professional auditioning. Occasionally they pay me to actually do it. And then when I'm working with my clients, I get to be the conductor of their adult recess while hopefully making a real positive.
You got an extra applause there. I unplugged something and it gave you applause.
She likes her buttons. That's good. I like it. And then Dr. Marissa and I met with a film festival that I ran called Flicks for Change for about 5 or 6 years. And she was kind enough to work the red carpet and conduct some awesome interviews. And that was another attempt to try to give back and unite art with philanthropic activism. So that was a really awesome, fun chapter in my life as well.
And that is James Hawthorn, and he is also responsible for choosing topics. Oh, but we forgot to have breakfast. You know,
we did.
Start every weekday morning with taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Top of the bun, things that we're grateful for when we look outside, and bottom of the bun, because I like it on the bottom. When we go to bed, on the bottom, what we want you to do is look inside and see what is good about you. Gratitude turned inwards. Another words for it is appreciation. So that's what we do for breakfast every weekday morning here on the show. So what are you grateful for, James?
Well, speaking of the top of the bun, I'm going to tell you one thing I'm not grateful for. The fact I ran out of cream cheese. I had nothing to put on my cinnamon raisin bagel this morning. So to the grocery I go, but I am grateful that cream cheese exists because there's nothing quite like cream cheese on a toasted cinnamon raisin bagel. I'm grateful for that simple pleasure outside of the bun. Outside of the box, top of the bun, we'll get started with cream cheese and bagels. I'm grateful for that pleasure, guilty pleasure.
I'm grateful that it that song, "Oh, it never rains in Southern California," is wrong. It does rain in Southern California. And I love the way it smells and looks after the rain.
Me too. I'm grateful for that as well. Hopefully, once I knock out some auditions and work today, I'm either going to run or ride my bike, go for a nice long bike ride, and enjoy the cooler weather. Because until Halloween, that cool weather is a gift because it can be wicked hot any day, anytime. Till about Halloween, then it's literally like someone snaps their fingers and we're back to, the cool, rainy California, which is fun.
I am grateful that I have slickers and a very cool see-through rain jacket that I love to pull out during the season.
That's good. And I'm grateful that the Dodgers clinched the division. So for the 12th time in 13 years, Dodgers have won the National League West. It was a very rocky path to get there this year. Lots of challenges, but hopefully that makes us battle tested for the upcoming postseason, which begins on Tuesday.
And this is for the Dodgers. So go blue. And your co-host today is actually one of the reasons, along with my bonus dad, who's 95, that I do love the Dodgers. I have all kinds of Dodger gear and bobbleheads that I am selling. Go on eBay. And I thought there was a game tonight. So there's no game tonight.
There is, I believe it. There is tonight. Yeah, it's against the so it's the last series of the year, and we are in Seattle facing the Mariners, who are also bound for the playoffs. So really, it's just the Dodgers are just trying to get all their ducks in a row for the postseason, make sure that all the arms in the rotation and bullpen are ready to contribute, and try to get guys sharp that maybe whose bats are a little cold, get their bats hot. It's going to be really interesting to see who makes the postseason roster and who doesn't. It's a smaller roster, so there's some drama there coming up.
Because I made plans to have a date with my bonus dad and watch the game at his place. So when I heard that we had won, I was like, oh, does that change? But I see there's a whole new ball game, postseason. So I look forward to that. And shout out to my pops, who's 95 and still going on strong, loves the Dodgers, and I love the Dodgers. So yeah, I'm my BFF Anne Marie also is a Dodger fan. I don't know if you saw us go crazy when they won last year, and we were jumping on the bed and her beagle was howling. So I'm hoping for a repeat of that. That's going to be really fun.
Like, that's how I behave. Why are the humans acting like this? Jumping all up and down on the bed.
It was very funny. I am grateful, last one, that I'm going to have a lot of fun this weekend. Mahjong, the Mahjong Beaches is the name of my group that once a month we get together for a tournament. Saturday, I'll be covering 2 events. Morning is intergenerational Mahjong put on by, I think it's American Mahjong, or East Meets West, or East Never Loses, or there's one more group that I'm now playing with. I got interviewed by CBS, which is kind of funny, about Mahjong. So that'll be coming out.
And that's really cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You know, I've got to learn more about this Mahjong madness. I have 3 lady friends. You're one of them that play Mahjong on a weekly basis. 2 clients, you. I got to understand what it's all about. I mean, I got my poker game I play every now and again, but man, I got to see what this is all about.
It has increased 179% in the last year. That was a stat that the CBS reporter gave me. I didn't know that. So she asked me why. And of course, in my branded happy way, I said that it was the balance to all the negativity against diversity, that this was a balancing of the positive aspect of diversity, and certainly during COVID, all of that Asian hate, that was one, and then the sense of community after COVID. So Who knows if that'll make it into the segment. But yeah, and then I'm grateful that I get to go again to the red carpet at Santa Anita Raceway. So if you missed my interview yesterday with Layla, and I can't pronounce her last name, beautiful Italian name, she is doing her fashion show. So you get to watch the horses race, and then during the break, go bet and watch a fashion show. Come on. Like that's
great.
that's perfect for me. So that is happening Sunday. Go to RLC Talent or Layla, just go to my website. She took a clip from the interview, so you can follow that link, and I'd love to see you there on the carpet. That includes you.
Awesome.
All right, let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is weightlifting for mental health, your own, taking responsibility for liking yourself so that you're not looking for likes in all the wrong places like social media, literally. Instead, you know who you are. So when you go to bed tonight, you'll feel good about yourself.
I'm going to segue gratitude into thing I like about myself. So a dear friend of my mom's is putting on a wonderful charity event here in Beverly Hills on November 2nd. It's called In a Perfect World, and they build schools and clean water wells in third world countries to give kids a real chance at, changing their own fortunes and the fortunes for their people and their village, which is so cool. And I like that I'm able to find synergies, mutually beneficial ways, connecting people so that everybody kind of benefits and wins. And I'm grateful to her for being open to that. I'm contributing to the goodie bags for the 150 or so guests that are donating a good amount of money to the cause. And I hope to meet these wonderful people and be able to give the gift of some free personal training to them. So I'm grateful to her for allowing me to do that. And I'm also working on a friend of mine is a wonderful musician, and we're just going to try to put together a trio to play at the event before it starts for the cocktail reception and get him some exposure for his band and provide some entertainment for the guests. And his husband is a celebrity hairstylist, and he's offered to put things in the goodie bag. So, it's just so fun when people can come together for a good cause, and it's a win-win across the board. And I like that I'm able to see those synergies and figure out who needs to meet who to, make an already good event hopefully great.
Yeah, that sounds great. Feel free to throw my audiobook of my #1 bestseller for free.
Oh, great. Thank you.
And a signed copy, also my Balanced Tai Chi Go, my children's book. So I would love to be able to donate as well.
Thank you. Let's chat offline about the best way to do that. That'll be great.
Yeah.
These are wonderful people. It's a $1,000 a ticket event. So, these folks are moving and shaking in the world and doing good, which is cool.
And I'm singing again.
Oh, that's great.
So I don't know what style they have, but if they need or want a couple of singing accompaniments, I would be happy to do that too.
Very cool. That's fun. Okay, you got the wheels turning now.
Of course. What I like about myself is my multi-hyphenate. I am so grateful that I have stood very firm. If I had $1 for every time someone said to me, you have to focus, you can't do so many things. Well, jack of all trades, master of none. That's the worst saying that I hear. And if there's one thing that I do in my life is to remove that from the vocabulary of idioms, which is an idiot expression, because it makes people think that life is just about one thing that you do well. That's bullshit hockey. You can do so many things well. So I appreciate my ability to buck that saying and now be rewarded by the description multi-hyphenate, which is relatively new. And a few months ago when someone called me that, I'm like, is that a compliment or an insult? But it's so much a compliment. So I appreciate that I am a multi-hyphenate. Probably someone called me the pioneer of multi-hyphenatism. All right. What do you like about yourself? One
I,
more.
I like that I can come back to center, that I've developed the skills to, when things are feeling sort of chaotic in my life, or maybe I feel some unrest, or that there's something unresolved, that I can, through journaling and through like meditation, take inventory and really recenter, because it's so easy. There's more distractions now than ever, and the world moves faster now than ever. And I like that I've developed the skills to, step back, hit pause, and take a good inventory, so that it keeps me grounded, centered, and focused on what really matters, and what I want most. So I like that I can find that center, and that wasn't always the case. So I'm grateful that I've developed that skill set, and I like that I can do that.
Awesome. Lastly, I am grateful for my ability to move through pain and come out the other side. I have spent more time being in acceptance of the whole situation with the blood clot and not flying, and getting to the other side of focusing on what I can do on the ground, which is quite a bit. So we are working right now on an online course for personal mastery. So instead of flying to Taiwan, Shanghai, Ireland to teach this course in person, it is going to be something that can be accessed from anywhere. So there you go.
There you go. It's a good one. I like that I have cultivated a natural desire to eat healthy. I've always got fruits and veggies around, and I like that it's not a chore for me, that I've really, and I also thank my mom for that as a kid, always having me eat all these fruits and vegetables, so I liked them. Just because it makes life so much easier when you like eating the stuff that's good for you. And I'm going to have a blackberry to that right now as we speak.
There you go. You can chuck one of those over here.
There you go.
All right. Well, I would love for y'all to join me every weekday morning when we have breakfast together, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. I promise that if you do this good life habit, this hashtag Blisscipline, with or without me, every weekday morning, you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. Thanks for joining me for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day. It says everything is awesome. James, what is the topic of today?
Today we're going to talk about trust and vulnerability, and how they play into relationship success. How trusting do you need to be? How vulnerable do you need to be? Are there dangers to being very trusting and making yourself vulnerable? Or is it simply a requirement to have the most intimate and connected relationship possible? So we're going to discuss, debate, and hopefully come up with some winning strategies together as we navigate the rocky shoals of putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, and trusting in the wildness and chaos that is another human being.
All right, great topic. I see eyeballs rolling in the studio. I'd love to know your experience with vulnerability and trust. And as per usual, first half of the show, we talk about keeping it real, keeping it straight. Like, what is the reality behind our humanness as far as vulnerability? I like the way you texted me. It's do we want to protect based on our experiences, or do we want to push ourselves and continue to put ourselves out there with vulnerability and trust, even if you've had bad experiences? So is it smarter to be safe, or is it smarter to continue with that risk factor? So that's our topic for today. As usual, why are we talking about this, James? Which gives always our co-host a chance to live out loud on the show, myself included, especially myself.
To air it out. There's nothing specific that came up that made me think of this topic, but I know that for me, it is an ongoing, not battle, but an area that I want to work on. It's very easy for me to be an open book and share all parts of myself because of exercises like the bottom of the bun. And, because I've grown to love myself, I can share openly the stuff that I'm proud of, the stuff I'm working on. And, what other people think of me is none of my business. So I want people to know me. So I'll share all that. But it's one thing to share it. It's another to really trust somebody with your heart. Certain things can feel like dangerous in a relationship, but when you allow people access to your heart, they can really surprise and delight you in ways that I think will take that bond or relationship to another level. And if you don't do it, sometimes I wonder if that doesn't put a glass ceiling over the connection and the intimacy that's possible with that person. And I would like to lean in to that scariness a little bit more, because at the end of the day, right, I think I have to remind myself that if somebody hurts you, it's more a reflection on, it might be, unintentional, and it's more a reflection on them and what they're doing, and then how you receive that is up to you in terms of how you frame it. But I think with relationships, you almost have to accept that you're going to get hurt. People that love you are going to hurt you, and that's just human interaction. I don't see any way around it. So why not, accept it and lean in and allow people in, and then trust your ability to adapt and react, rather than, I want to be more aware of ways in which I maybe am overly protecting my heart, not giving people full access to it, and try to break down those walls and see what happens. So that's kind of a mission of mine in general that I want to work on. Yes, I'm an open book, but I don't know that I give people open access to my heart all the time.
Yeah, I've been told that, I'm very warm and inviting until you get about here, and then don't come any closer, right? Or doing this, right? Come here, go away, come here, go away. Do you mind going to your settings and hitting echo cancellation? I'm getting a little gerbil on my end, and I don't know
that?
why.
Is that a little bit better?
Yes. What did you just do?
I just turned down the volume a bit so that there's not, that echo reverb.
Oh, then that's what I need to ask Dr. Tiffany to do, because that happens on ours a lot. And I thought it was me. See, I was taking it personally, and it's you.
Or it's
what
just
a great
technology.
Example.
Just technology.
It's a great example of what we were just talking about. What you were just talking about is taking rejection personally, and it's not about you. It's really about them. That's one thing that hit me when you were talking. Another thing is, in my coaching practice, happiness coaching, one client in particular is a poster child for what we're talking about. He was in his 40s, and he had he was tired of being tired of not being able to have a healthy relationship. So, we talked about what was keeping him, and he identified that his heart was broken. And so that's why, he was guarding his heart, and, it was affecting his relationships. And I said, when did this heart get broken? And he said when he was 18. So for 22 years or more, right? 25 years, I think it was. He's been sabotaging potentially healthy relationships with that memory where he thought his heart was broken and he was going to die. I mean, that was the strength of his, being vulnerable and getting kicked in the heart. And he carried that memory. And I, we were working with that, and until he could see that, one, no one can really break your heart. They can bruise it, but your heart is your own and it will never be broken. Okay. It'll hurt, but it's not ever broken, right? No one has the ability to do that. Two, are you going to let one person's rejection of you 25 years ago ruin the rest of your, years in your book of romance? Come on. So he's happily married, children. And it's one of the success. I love doing the coaching because of things like this, where he was able to see, acknowledge, own, and move past the pain into the power. And that's all my happiness coaching is.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And, I think a lot of it happens at the subconscious level. Our defense mechanisms are a subconscious thing. And so he could see that he was sabotaging himself, but a lot of the ways in which I think people do that when they're hurt is kind of below the radar, because, we have really good self-protective mechanisms. And I think it's important to look at our behaviors in relationship, look for patterns, and see maybe the things that we do. We can then pull that out of the subconscious into the conscious by looking at the behaviors. And then we can consciously decide which of those behaviors are serving us and what we want out of relationships, and which maybe took hold of us rather than us consciously employing them. Because, your subconscious is like a 4-year-old. It runs 90% of the ship of your day-to-day life. But sometimes, that 4-year-old doesn't know best. So that stuff that happens automatically, maybe we need to make sure that it's not so automatic. And I think by looking at, our behaviors in relationship and identifying patterns, we can unpack it, bring it to the conscious. And then once we're aware of it, we can be more mindful of when we're giving into a defense mechanism versus when we're making a proactive choice to either be vulnerable and trust, or to be a little wary and, protect. I mean, to use the example of celebrities, for example, I imagine that, there's a complex around wondering whether somebody, really likes them, or whether their like is insincere because of, that person's status. And I think about that, and I can only imagine that it takes a tremendous amount of trust, for them to believe in someone else's sincerity and in their like for them. And I think, if we look at our own lives and our own patterns, we can find the triggers that maybe make us clam up, close off. And by being aware of that and being mindful, I think we can choose to be more open in those moments, or not to, if protecting, ourselves is a top priority over connection. And I do think that one comes at the expense of the others, often.
Yeah. And that whole thing about celebrity, I'm glad you brought that up, because I also work with celebrities who say exactly that. I don't know if they really like me or want to be with me because of who I am, or just because of my celebrity. And my response to that is, but that is a part of you. And isn't that a great part of you that you have achieved that? Same thing with money. My clients who have a lot of money, well, I think she's with me because I have a lot of money. And it's like, yes, and that's a part of you. It's a reflection of the ambition, the success, the achievement oriented part of you. Are you going to hold someone in contempt because they value that aspect of yourself? It's all a part of you. But that insecurity, 2 examples come to mind. Howard Stern. I heard him say that he went to a high school reunion, and that, one of his best moments that he remembered was walking up to the girl who rejected him and said, "See what you turned down," kind of thing. And it was like, He's not alone. I'm not bashing Howard. Sorry, Howard. But it's a great example of how we hold this insecurity about, who we are. And it's silly, which is why we do the bottom of the bun. He's like, can't we own, that we are 88% fabulous, all of us, all 8 billion of us, 12% of the time we step in it. But 88% of us is so amazing. Isn't it wonderful that we have a plethora of people we can connect with who admire that? Now, to balance that out, I don't like going out with guys who are just like fawning all over me and putting me on a pedestal. I get that. I want someone who, loves me, but I do want them to admire, right? But balance it out that I'm not on that pedestal where I can fall off. So it's a kind of a tricky dicky kind of thing. And I just looked at the time. It's time to pause for news, weather, traffic, and a word from our sponsor. Please don't go away as we continue to have this fascinating conversation about vulnerability, trust, and straight talk about it with this is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn.
We'll be right back. Don't go away. 2 and 2. Peace in, peace out.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Hi, everybody. I am James Hawthorn of Action Man Fitness. You can reach out to me on Instagram at that handle. And I would love to work with you. For anybody that messages me and says, Dr. Marissa, I am going to offer 25% off through the end of October. So if you were thinking about getting started, looking at getting started, I want to give you that chance. And the first session is on me. So whether it's weight loss, improving your strength, injury and pain prevention or mitigation, I'm here to help and would love to. So just DM me at Action Man Fitness on Instagram, say Dr. Marissa, and I would love to work with you for a discounted rate to the end of October. Let's get started. That's the most important first step.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, #1 talk in the IE. Thank you very much. NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel, which if you free subscribe and give me the finger, this one, not the other one, you will get access and an alert every weekday morning to join me live in studio. like we are today with Straight Talk with myself and
James Hawthorn, thank you for giving me the chance to make that offer to your listeners.
absolutely. And we are talking about
Trust and vulnerability. How important is it to relationship success? How much do we need to give in that arena to create the most intimate and flourishing relationships? And when is it okay to guard your heart a little bit? You know, there's that expression, give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But I think a lot of us sometimes live with this paradigm, doubt everyone till they earn their benefits. So where is the balance point for that? And you were talking about 88% happiness, and how important it is for us to remember that we're 88% great. But the pesky thing about human nature is, I think, speaking of the finger, a lot of us give ourselves the bad finger for that 12%. And I know I've been guilty of this at times, where I'll almost feel like inferior, or I'll feel ugly about that 12%, and I'll want to hide it. And to some degree, you don't have to put all of your baggage out on the table when you first meet somebody. But if you meet somebody that is, for example, more financially well off than you, I think it's so you don't have to hide and pretend. It's okay to say, look, this is where I'm at in life, and if that's a non-starter for you, so be it. But that doesn't necessarily have to be a reflection on you that you're somehow a failure, or that's an ugliness in your life. We all have ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and I think when you allow somebody to accept you for that, and they say, yeah, that's not a big deal for me, I love the other 88% so much, that is like a bond, a strengthening of that connection. It helps build a solid foundation for growth in that relationship. So let's make sure, I think, that we don't overinflate the importance of that 12%. It's always good to be working on it, but it doesn't have to be something that puts us in a corner when it comes to meeting and connecting with other people.
absolutely. And this is why the course on personal mastery has become, so lit up, and maybe that's why I've been grounded, because to sit down and actually write the course instead of continuing to teach it everywhere. I saw the Billy Joel special. If you haven't watched it, it's incredible. But it illustrates this exact point, is that all of us who, prescribed that American dream, you get money, you get fame, you're supposed to be happy, but you haven't worked through the demons in here, going to the tractor for milk, trying to get love and approval from people who cannot give it, his father, and then having the success that you think you is going to make you important, and then inside you still have self-sabotage. You still look at that 12% instead of looking at the 88% of the reviews that say you're incredible, right? And then you're focused on that 12% of the people who, for whatever reason, are giving you a bad review. And it's such a, I think part of it is we don't learn about this, right? We don't learn about it in school, and we don't learn about it at home. If we've got parents who grew up in childhood trauma, they will pass on. They don't know any better. That's what happened in my life. So we continue this legacy of insecurity and non-personal mastery. I will go back to the comment you made about the subconscious. I actually have a little different model, because it's not that, that 4-year-old that runs your life that is the subconscious 95%. All of us have a balanced, centered self that if we work on developing that, then the brat and the critic, who are also our parts of our developed persona, they aren't driving our life car. But if you don't have personal mastery, and if you're like Billy Joel in those early, many years of being driven by that voice in the head constantly telling him he's not enough. That's not personal mastery. He had professional mastery, but he didn't have personal mastery. And, watching him go through the wives and watching him go through that pain, that internal pain of not being enough, Lord Almighty, that's my mission. Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years is not from achieving a success, which I'm not saying you can't have it all. You can have it all, but it stems from that inside mastery. If I love myself most of the time, I'm going to walk through this world in a very different place and attract to me very different people and experiences.
This idea that you are enough is so important. For people that are success driven and that maybe are very hard on themselves, there's an expression that I like. I don't remember where I heard it, but it's,
probably from me.
That I am sure I did not, but you may have said it because you're very intuitive. You might agree with this, but when it comes to your accomplishments and your station in life and where you're at, and this is for people that are very driven, I think a nice compromise is to say, allow yourself to be momentarily pleased, like allow yourself the pleasure of, hey, I accomplished this, I did that. Celebrate the wins, no matter how small. Be momentarily pleased, but never satisfied. So what that means is that you're continuing to strive for a life that you envision of your dreams. But along the way, make sure to be pleased with the wins and the progress that you make, no matter how insignificant. Because when you tell yourself you're never enough, you never enjoy any of the steps on the journey. And the only thing that's really guaranteed at the end of the day is the journey. And then something else I want to bring in about this paradigm that I think so many of us suffer from, and I have at different points as well, that you're not enough, is when I was doing all my acting training, one of the biggest lessons that kept getting hammered into us through different ways was that you are enough. So a lot of people, when they act, especially on camera, they're overacting. They're being performative instead of just being simple and real, truly listening and responding truthfully, trusting that, if you're in the moment and present, that your real natural reactions are enough. The camera is going to pick up the thoughts in your eyes and that human experience. And that's what draws an audience in with acting. Similarly, I think when you're present on your dates and with other people and in relationship, and you're fully open, you allow yourself to be vulnerable. So you drop that coat of armor and allow the words and actions of others to affect you, both positively and negatively. That vulnerability, I think, builds trust in the other person towards you. So you become someone that they can trust, and then they open up to you, and then you then in return feel like you can trust them. So, if acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances, which is a really high bar because you've got to make an audience believe the works of fiction that someone else wrote, it's basically life like concentrated. So if that was the big lesson that they kept teaching us, for acting and being able to make people believe a fictitious story, I just think that it underscores the importance of doing it in our real lives. That you are enough.
Absolutely. My definition of success is having what you want and wanting what you have. That's that satisfaction aspect, and not living, I'll be happy when. I'm guilty of that. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I would say I'll be happy when I have this much money. And then that when would move. Like as soon as I get to that point, I go, well, maybe a little more. I'll be happy when this happens or this. And then you're only as good as your last win. It's a horrible way to live because you're never happy. It's that line. Now, I may not have said that momentary thing, but this is a model I've been using forever, that if this is 0 and this is 100 and you're goal oriented, and if you're anything like me, you go, and then go, whoop, and I'm at 88%. But most perfectionists will stand on that line of 88% and look towards the goal. That 12% that isn't done has a feeling of anxiousness and anticipation of not enough because we got to get there. I'll celebrate when we get to the 100%. Don't ask me to praise people or say, attaboy, I'm not done yet, right? So all our time is always in that 12%, because even if we get to the 100% and go, yay, for a second, we're back to the next goal, whoop, back to that 88%. So we're always in that feeling of dis-ease. We're always in that, I'll be happy when I finish, but you're never going to get done. So stand on the 88% line. Instead of looking at 100, look at all that we have accomplished from 0 to 88%. I say often, good job, mama. Good job. Because I'm the only one that can say that and feel the success in that. That's the journey, right? If we can feel that, because that's where the happy feeling is, from the 0 to the 88. And the most important reason to do this is not even yourself. If you're that hard on yourself, pretty chances are you're hard on other people too. And you're not that fun to be around, because you're always noticing where people are falling off the beam instead of staying on the beam. So
there's this idea of perfectly imperfect. I mean, what makes being a human being so interesting is that we all have our imperfections, and how we navigate those and find a way to get along and love anyway. You know, there would be no such thing as unconditional love if we weren't imperfect. And unconditional love is a beautiful thing that you look at people that have been married for 40, 50 years. I mean, I'm sure they could make a laundry list of all the things that irritate them about the person, or things that they wish they could get better at, but they love them unconditionally. And that's a bond that's built over time. And so it's this idea that we are perfectly imperfect, you know, that it's a good metaphor, what you described about standing on the edge of 88%. A lot of us, I think, fall victim to a optical mental illusion where you fixate on that finish line 12% away, and the gap between where you are and where you want to be can look like the Grand Canyon. And it's not, but we fixate on that big hole between where we're at and where we're trying to go. And that, what you choose to focus on, becomes real. And it, you know, if you're looking at that hole, you're not celebrating the 88%, you know, that you've made. A lot of people have died on Mount Everest because they were so determined to get to the top against, you know, weather conditions, their own physical limitations. Why not, if you have to turn around for safety, why not celebrate that you climbed 88% of the highest mountain in the world? And, you know, that's not bad. And it's good to be hungry. You come back, do it next year, train better, hope for better weather, but you got to celebrate the fact that you put yourself there and gave it a shot. There's an expression from a collegiate swim coach that I think, when I boil it down, it's about giving yourself grace. And when his team was having a tough season, he gave a speech and he said, all right, guys, we're not where we ought to be. We're not where we want to be, but we ain't where we used to be, and we ain't where we're gonna be. So, you know, that's just this idea of taking a moment and accepting where you are on the journey, and be hopeful and work hard towards where you know you're going to go. You have to say, look, I already made it this far. Might not be what we ultimately want, but if I made it this far, then I know I can make it a little farther. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a deep breath and not beat myself up over it. I just love that expression, because I think it's true for all of us most of the time in life, no matter what we're looking at with any aspect of our life, whether it's financial, emotional, whatever it might be.
Yep. It's turning being your own worst critic to your own best friend. That's the title of my course. And it is such a worthy life pursuit. And I think that our culture, especially in America, has promoted the idea of killing yourself, working 80 hours, perfectionism, getting it perfect. You want to hide your mistakes. You can't be human. You have to be, all this to everybody. And that kind of unspoken rule for success has also driven, I think, a lot of people to this point of exhaustion that is not helpful. And this, I will say, this balancing act that the younger generation is doing by saying, I, I ain't, I ain't coming to work and doing overtime. I don't want to. I don't feel like it. And I don't care if I don't get ahead here because it's more important for me to take a gap year. I've never heard the expression gap year used so much I grew up in an era where it was really important to explain why there was a gap in my resume from this time to this time. And now it's like, it's almost a point of pride. I'm taking a gap year. And my executive coaching clients are not happy about that. And my point to them is, hey, this is balance, man. You created this by being exhausted, sick, and miserable and ill by the time you retire, that you can't enjoy your retirement. So you created this by having the younger generation witness that, I'm going to enjoy, like you were saying, achieve and then enjoy, and then achieve and then enjoy.
And take the time to find out who you are. I mean, before I did Flicks for Change, I was trying to make my own documentaries about like being your best self and socially conscious theme. And I talked to this guy who didn't speak out loud for 19 years and refused to ride in motorized vehicles for 21 years because of his commitment to environmentalism, and then realizing that he was kind of an argumentative person. And, that's what he needed to do to find his true self. And, I interviewed him for a total of about 5-6 hours over 3 or 4 different interviews. And everything to me boiled down to something he said. He said, you have got to find out who you are and be that authentic person no matter what. And that sounds so simple, but when we think about our own nature and the ways that we kind of sabotage that, I think that vulnerability comes down to taking control of, how you feel about yourself and what you're willing to share. And I think that finding out who you are and being that authentic person, no matter what, is a good way to be truly vulnerable. And then the trust piece of the topic today is about giving up control over what other people might do and say, or not do and not say. In other words, not white knuckling life, letting people be who they are and accepting that you're going to get hurt along the way, even by people that you've already decided that you fully love and care about. And that, and that's just part of the package. You have to, I think, learn to be okay with that if you want all the benefits and rewards of a close and loving relationship, whether it's romantic, with friends, with family. I think accepting, not giving people a get out of jail free card when they hurt you. It's okay to hold people accountable and say, hey, listen, that really hurt me. But accepting that it's part of the deal. It's part of the package, just because of the way relationships work and because we're imperfect.
It's balance. It's always about balance. It's always about, giving people the benefit of the doubt. And if they prove that they are not worthy of that, then give them the dob. Right? What is it? The defense over benefit, or doubt over benefit.
Doubt people before they earn their benefits.
Yeah, because I've been saying give people the bod until they prove you wrong, and then give them the dob. Right?
That's right.
New Marissa-ism here. I love when that happens. So final word.
I'll make it personal. I think talking about it today has made me more aware that I think the most important part of my journey is the trust, giving up control over what other people may do or say that could hurt me, and therefore thereby avoiding situations where I could get hurt. But I want to have full access to everything someone has to offer in a romantic relationship. And I think I'm pretty good at being vulnerable with people, but I still have some work to do there. But for me, the biggest thing that I want to work on is that trust and giving up control of something that I can't control, which is other people's behavior and words, and just going along for the ride, right? Leaping and trusting that even if I do get hurt, I'll be okay, because nobody can truly break my heart. So I hope that for those listening at home, they take an inventory and find out where you are on vulnerability, where you are on trust, and look at the ways that maybe it's helped or hurt your relationships, and make a plan of some actionable things you can do to be that authentic person, love that authentic person, do it no matter what, and give people a chance to come into your heart.
I would say my final word is assessing your dob and your bod. So are you a person that tends to overbod, giving people the benefit of the doubt so much that you become not a doormat, but wall-to-wall carpet? Then you might want to go to the other end and do the dob and doubt before you give people the benefit. And that's that balance. I love the serenity prayer, because it's always tells me is my natural state to God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I'm not a good acceptor. I'm the changer. I want to change something if I don't like it. That tells me that I might want to do the acceptance part a little bit more, and vice versa. So it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Thank you so much for joining us today on Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn.
Thank you, co-host James Hawthorn. Another great convo about something that can make you happy 88% of the time. Now, take us out.
Now go and have the best weekend and week ever.
We'll see you on Monday.
Take back your life with